Hey guys, welcome back to another EF2000 video. I had a pretty good summer with a lot of vacations and holidays, and September just kicked off with school for the kids and back to work in a big time, and it's already been pretty demanding during the past 10 days or so, so I just kind of feel like worn down or run down and just need to chill out a bit. So I thought I would do a quick and easy scenario in EF2000. For some reason this game simulation seems to be able to relax me quite a lot, and I've just been fond of it since the mid-90s, but back then I didn't really know what I was doing. Now about a year ago I started playing it again, and I wouldn't say that I'm a pro at it or I'm still at just rookie level, but at least I have the basic grips in terms of what I'm doing, and I pretty much enjoy the overall simulation. So for this particular scenario, it should be pretty straightforward. We are required to conduct an aerial patrol within Sweden in a designated area. So we'll be taking off from the airfield, following the pre-designated routes, and then get back to the airfield. In case of any contacts, we might engage or disengage, we will see. So for the parameters, I'm going to keep it at day, good weather, and for weapons, I'm going to have a look at what we are carrying. So, okay, we are not going to be needing these. So instead of air to ground, I'm going to apply some additional medium-ranged missiles, air-to-air capabilities, and there we go.
Oslo, Gare de Moines, Tower, Condor, taxi.
Okay, so we are just right at the airport, the airfield. So our first business will be to taxi to the proper runway and then, start our patrol along the designated waypoints. Let me just start up the engines. There's the left one. And now we got both engines running. Excellent. So, and I think we will have a wingman in this one as well. We must start adding thrust, and then we will start the taxi maneuver to the runway. It should be across that, I believe. So we will just be heading to those red and yellow highlighted section. And we already have our wingman behind us, almost crashing into us. So taxiing to the runway might take like 5 or 10 minutes. Something that can be skipped actually by pressing Shift A, but for me this is part of the simulation as well, so kind of like doing this stuff like similarly to Steel Beast, just doing some of the logistic stuff, reloading, refueling, all this kind of stuff, not just the pure action. So with this one we will be just doing a taxi to the runway, and actually in the manual which I have, in the proper box version, they have a layout for each of the airports as well, where you can check how you can get to the particular lane. You can just drive straight across actually. It's not going to cause to crash if you travel on the grass either, but just switch off the radar for now, and we can see our wingman already getting into position. So should be just following him. I need to increase thrust to at least 72% or even more. What matters is that we are around or less than 20 kilometers per hour while on the ground. It's especially while we are maneuvering like left and right. Otherwise, it's very easy to flip the plane and just get destroyed on the runway itself. So there we go. It should take us a couple of minutes to get there, but we'll soon be there. So about the EF2000, I mean, for me this is still the top-notch simulator, and not just due to nostalgia factors, because I've been playing this back in the 90s as well. The difference is that when I was playing it back then, I obviously had a cracked version. I had no idea what I was doing, and I guess I could manage to take off, and then that was about it, and get shot. But I still pretty much liked flying around with it and just enjoying the overall simulation. And like last year when I learned about this new release, this EF2000, I mean, ever since that I've been pretty much hooked on it. I don't play it on a daily basis, but I'm having a go at it at least on a weekly basis, and I kind of do that in a rotation with the Panzer Elite, Steel Beasts, and then lately I started playing Mech Warrior 2 and that series as well. That's another favorite of mine from the mid-90s. So, but this particular simulation is just really unbelievable in terms of the overall leap that they managed to do in terms of scale, simulation, and the overall feel for it. Even up to this date, I mean, this feels like an excellent game. And as far as simulation is concerned, I think it's fairly accessible, easy to use. I mean, I'm not a flight sim guy, but this one is fairly easy, but still it gives you enough to do so that you have sort of like the illusion of being a proper simulator or simulation as much as possible. Back then when this was released, the Eurofighter 2000, or I think it was called Eurofighter 2000 back then, that project was still ongoing, and when the game was released, the actual plane was not put into service yet. So this particular plane is now officially called Eurofighter Typhoon, and I think it's entered service in the early 2000s. So, but the game that we have here is pretty much built around the information that was available back then, and it's a fairly good representation of the overall plane. Or obviously, due to some secrecy and other sensitive stuff in terms of information on how the plane works, this is not like 100% accurate to the real life, but it's a fairly accurate representation. And I don't recall having any other major simulator scenes that showcase the Eurofighter. Not even there. It might be in DCS as a mod. I believe you can download it, but I don't have DCS. I don't have the rig for it, and obviously this doesn't have like the graphics of DCS, but what it does have is dynamic campaign, lots of scenarios, huge terrain, and everything what you need to be able to enjoy a simulation. So I'm just gonna pick up the speed a bit because I'm lagging behind my wingman, and we are not just coming up to the actual runway. Just need to make sure that I don't exceed the 20 kilometers per hour speed on the ground. I'd be ashamed to crash right now. And while on the ground, it kind of steers like a ship, so it has a very big turn radius. You can apply greater steer to it, but then you have the danger of overturning the plane. So we are just at the end of the runway. Once we get into position, we should get the good to go from the controllers at the airfield, and then we can launch the actual mission. I'm not sure whether our wingman has started. I think he's going to be waiting for us to line up. Let me just do that. And we have arrived.
Oslo, Gare de Moines. Condor, clear takeoff. Wind 5 knots. 89
Okay, we got the clear
degrees.
to take off.
Start
Before
to
we do
go.
that, I just want to make sure that we are setting ourselves up for the next waypoint. So, first things first, thrusters to 100%, racing brakes, and then applying the overheat.
Airborne. Airborne.
And we are airborne as well. Gears up. And then we will slowly start our ascent to 5,000 feet for the start. I'm just lining up on the navigation point.
2. Spike.
And sorry, I said overheat, but I meant afterburners. That's what you get when you play too much on Mac Warrior. With because I've been playing it like constantly over the past week or so, and it's just overheat. Anyway, let's just level up for the moment.
Engaged.
Switching off our radar, switching on, and let me see. So I'm already going to be using the DES defensive system and expanding it the radius to 30 miles.
Start 3, go.
And then I'm already going to be activating electronic countermeasures. Let's see our wingman. Yeah, we got it right there on the right side.
Music on.
Yeah, I've ordered him to turn on electronic countermeasures on as well.
Spike.
So technically our mission is to do a reconnaissance around this central area and see if we get any
2. Request
contacts.
permission to engage.
Switch off autopilot.
Autopilot disengaged.
Looks like our wingman has already made contact. I haven't really seen any targets of opportunity.
2. Request permission to engage.
Okay, so far we are telling him not to engage. Let's just see what type of targets do we have here.
2. Request permission to engage.
Okay, so these are definitely ours. NATO tornadoes.
Request permission
I'm
to
really not
engage.
sure what type of contact a wingman has. Let me just see.
2. Request permission to engage.
Okay, this seems to be
2.
some
Spike.
F-16s, and I believe, or I thought that we didn't have any enemy planes in this particular mission. So we could technically engage.
2. Request permission to engage. 2. Spike. Copy.
So I'm gonna engage. And I'm gonna order the
Engage.
wingman
2.
to engage my
Engaging.
target as well.
2. Fox 1. Engage my target. 2. Copy.
Okay, so we got missiles launched to both of the enemy planes, and just gonna break contact a bit. They seem to be
2.
idle,
Fox 1.
at least in terms of our actions. We're passive, but just see the missiles. I believe in this scenario you wouldn't need to engage the enemies, but
2. Fox 2.
since we have them, we will just
2.
take care of
Splash
them.
1.
Okay, so one of them is already down.
2. I'll engage. You cover.
Just see the other rocket. Okay, it's lost track, so it seems like... Oh yeah. Both targets were hit by our wingman, and they are going down. Yep, it's gonna hit the ground fairly soon.
Condor, arrow go. Disengage.
I'm really not sure whether we should
Disengaging.
have engaged these, but
2. Request permission to
Okay.
engage.
let me just check. I don't see anything on the radar. Not sure what the wingman is saying, but we will not be engaging. I'm just gonna continue along the designated route, and we have climbed up to 20,000 feet. I'm gonna drop back to 10,000. And I'm going to wait for the wingman to catch up.
Condor, echelon go.
Fuel-wise, we are doing pretty much okay. Like, we have an extra fuel tank on board as well, so don't think that we will need to use the afterburners at all. And we should have sufficient fuel to conduct the air patrol without any issues or refueling. So we are lined up. Use the autopilot to level up
Engaged.
and then enjoy the view.
Spike.
Okay, I believe there we have our wingman coming up. Oh yeah. He's using the afterburners to catch up. what strikes me about this game the most is that, you know, how good this looks. Even though this is like a updated version, but they didn't really do that much of an update, like textures and graphics. All this EF2000 reloaded version does it, that, you know, it makes it work at a higher resolution and enables you to play it on a newer PC. And actually, I got so much hooked on EF2000 that I started building up, or actually I built up several retro PCs. Like one of them is with the Voodoo 1 card, Pentium 200 MHz, and I'm gonna be posting a video about that sometime shortly. And I managed to get a very sweet 19-inch CRT monitor as well, and I've been playing on it occasionally. So right now I'm playing on a, I don't know how big this is. This is probably around 23, 24 inches of, you know, flat screen. It looks pretty good, but once you go back to CRT, man, the difference that you have on CRT is just amazing, especially with these old DOS games. So I'm hoping to get together some space in the house for myself for the retro stuff, because I really want to play that more often, especially on the CRT. And CRT is, you know, due to the technology that it uses, it just takes up a lot of space. But for these old games and even for new games, the difference is staggering. So I hope to do some video on that one as well, because it's really pretty cool. I used to play on that, like Armored Fist 2, MechWarrior 2, and then EF2000. So let's see where we are. Okay, we are on our way to our third waypoint, essentially, at which point we should be turning around and heading back to base. And we are just passing some mountains here in Sweden. So I mean, this looked pretty sweet back in 1995-96 when this was released, and for me it still holds up. The great thing about this is that although you can see there's no forest or trees or foliage down there, but what you have is fairly accurate representation of the terrain, and the build out is essentially, at least as per the developers claiming, is accurate to the real life. So what we have here is using or built around the actual topography, which adds quite a lot to the immersion. And didn't really pay much attention, so we climbed up to 15,000. I like to keep it at 10,000 feet. Just going to increase the speed a bit since we got the fuel for it. And I still don't see our wingman, which is coming up to the mountains. Now, one of the really unique things about this simulation was this whole 3D canopy, which if you have IR track you can just use that one as well and look around, but it's fairly easy to do with the keyboard as well. Okay, we're just lining up on the third waypoint.
Autopilot.
Engage autopilot, and we can line up again. So we have just essentially fly past these mountains and get back on the other side. So just checking the radar, there's no further contacts in terms of enemies. This is our wingman, and these are the tornadoes. They're also patrolling the area. Just hold back to my plane.
2, spike.
Yeah. So once we reach waypoint 4, I believe we should be heading back then to the airport. That's what I figured based on the map.
2, spike.
So what I was saying, for me the real attraction of this thing is this whole 3D cockpit, which I believe that you don't really had back then. And even in the DOS function version, this functioned pretty well. So
Spike.
obviously the pilot here is just a sprite, but it works fairly well. And you can see all of the main screens, and if I'm shuffling around, it does change for the outer view as well. And so I can read the most of the values there. So it's fairly good. And as I said, this is actually a good representation of the three MFDs that the Eurofighter has with all its functions, essentially. And I think before this in flight sims you had like a 2D view or cut out cockpit, essentially, where you could just click around and have a look, which was fine. But having it in 3D is a lot different, and adds a lot to the immersion, especially with looking around. And it's also kind of realistic that I'm able to look around. And this one is using the 3D-FX enhanced version, so textures and colors are slightly better, and you can see some reflections here on the canopy itself, which are actually not reflections, but I believe they're just pasted on the actual texture, or are being displayed while looking through the cockpit canopy. But it's still a pretty clever and good effect that somebody had this in mind. It adds a lot to it. Okay, let's just check the system's fine. Yeah, full engine's fine, and so we are coming up almost to the next waypoint, and then if you don't have any further context, we will just turn around and make our way to the airfield. So I just want to figure out where our region is. Okay, it's just coming up.
Spike.
Let's just change formation. I wanna have you in echelon.
2, spike. Condor, echelon,
so
go.
it should be coming up on either sides. Oh man, where are you?
2, spike.
Oh, sorry, I've been selecting the wrong formation. Let's go arrow go.
Condor, arrow go. Spike.
There you go.
Buddy, spike.
Now, this must have been a blast to play in multiplayer,
Spike.
and I actually hope to do that sometime in the future with my son, if he's old enough. So far he's just learning some steel beat stuff that I do, and but mostly we are playing like beat them ups or first person shooters like Halo in cooperative mode. He's 9 years old, but I would say he's already very talented as far as gaming is concerned. But I hope to get him on board in terms of some of the more serious stuff later on, if he's interested. But this would definitely be a blast to
Spike.
play in multiplayer. So we are just coming up on the last waypoint. I don't see any action coming up, which I don't mind, because I just want to have just a relaxing flight essentially. So we will just shortly turn around and head for the airport.
2 buddy spike.
And I hope I'm not gonna be crashing the plane. It's been a while since I landed in EF2000, like a month or 2 months ago, but I should still be able to do it. Okay,
2 spike.
so now we are lining up on the last waypoint, which should be the actual base itself, and time to call in for the controller. And
Condor for recovery. Oslo Gardermoen using runway 1.
asking permission for landing.
Initial.
So
2.
we got the
initial.
permission along with the wingman, so we are just 38 miles away. It should be coming up on the HUD shortly, so I'm gonna be starting to prepare for the landing. I believe the airfield is going to be just right behind these hills here. I should see it on the HUD shortly. So I already switched over to landing mode. And I'm gonna start the descent to 2,000 or 3,000 feet. .25 miles, so we are coming up fairly quickly on the airport. Okay, we are down at 2,000, so I'm just gonna keep it here, and then gradually we will be dropping our speed, dropping thrust down to 80%, and we should be shortly in visual range of the airfield. Now with the landing mode activated, it's gonna assist in finding the proper angle for the landing and the proper channel to follow. You can already see it coming up on the HUD. So we are fairly good aligned. As we are approaching, we will need to steadily decrease our speed, and I didn't really pay much attention, but we sunk fairly deep in terms of this here, so I got pretty close, because I didn't crash because it was just like 300 feet or so. And now you can already see the lights for the runway and the proposed path. I'm just further decreasing the speed. I'm going to be applying air brakes,
On the brake.
and just to get it down below 300, and then start the landing procedure. Just want to make sure that I don't drop too much speed to stall or land too short. Okay, I'm gonna keep it around 300 knots in terms of speed.
On the brake.
Undercarriage down.
Finals gear
Okay,
down.
we got the gears down, and we are lining up. In terms of touchdown, I shouldn't be above 150 in terms of speed, otherwise that's going to be a problem. And I need to make sure that I'm aligned properly, and also watch out for the actual height. So we are at 200 feet. I need to ascend further, and then I need to stop any left or right movement, so otherwise we will just turn over the runway. And actually might be coming up just a bit short. Oh yeah, definitely going to be landing earlier. It's not good, but not the end of the world either. In real life, I would have crashed at this stage because I touched down too early. But for this one, it's still a go. And there we are. Let's see how it's wingman doing. We're just lining up now. I'm hitting the brakes. And now we will be heading towards one of the hangars for shutting down. I totally missed the concrete road, but again, in this simulation it doesn't really matter. You can just drive over the pavement. There are simulations where normally you would need to follow the actual pavement, but never mind that. Okay, wingman is still not touchdown. Yeah, he seems to have missed. Well, not missed, but didn't land. Anyway, I'm just gonna head for the nearest hangar and then shut down the engine. And that should be basically ending the mission. So, that's it, we have arrived. Just gonna hit the brakes and then switch off engines.
Engine off. Engine off.
2 on the brake. 2 finals gear down.
Camera wait till the wingman is touching down. Just see it how he does it from his angle. So I'm not sure whether he did not get any clearance, so he had to do like an extra round, or just wasn't lined up properly. But now he's heading to the landing spot. Let's see it from a free camera angle. So anyways, there hasn't been much going on in this video, but sometimes you need that as well in terms of the simulation, not just all the action. Especially with this one, I really enjoyed the long flights and just the overall traffic and the feel to it. So, oh yeah, see, he seems to be landing flawlessly, also deploying parachute. So I kind of should have done the same as well. I just landed a couple of 100 meters short, but I'm still down. So that would be about it. So see you guys in the next one.